Nation, what's happening? Listen, before we get started with today's podcast, this is what I want you to do. If you could, it would be so awesome if you could go and like, subscribe, and comment on any of our social media platforms. That's YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're everywhere. Go out there, take some of your time, and tell us what you like about the podcast, what we can improve on. Listen, I just want to hear from you because I need your feedback. I'm trying to make the podcast better. I want it to be something that you're going to listen to because guess what? This podcast is one of the very few, if not the only, classroom podcast that has been specifically designed to interview industry and university leaders and experts to gain their insight so that we can help take your leadership and your learning to the next level immediately. You know, like I always do, and I'm going to do it today as well. I'm going to start off with a great quote, and I even have it on my mobile device. Today's great quote comes from John D. Rockefeller. He says, "Don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great." That's all we want you to do from the CardinOLL podcast. Look at what you're doing, and if it's good, we want you to do something and go be better at it. Go be greater at it. That's our only desire. You know what I tell you every week to do? I'm going to tell you to do it this week as well. Go get your pens, your pencils, your notepads, your memo boards, whatever it is that you take notes with. Because today's session is going to be just that great. The golden nuggets that today's special guest gives are just that phenomenal. So listen, as we head into the classroom, I want you to make sure you have all those things so that you can go be great, be successful, and be the leader and the learner that we know that you can be. Join me as I head into the classroom. Let's go. CardinOLL Nation, welcome back. Welcome to the classroom. Today we have a very, very, very special guest. And I know that the golden nuggets that you're going to learn today that are really going to take your leadership and your learning completely to a whole new level. I don't want to waste any time because our guest is an extremely busy individual. But James, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. It's really an honor, and I'm excited about what we're talking about today.
No. The honor is all mine and ours. But let's jump in. You know, we don't like to waste time with our guests. We jump right into the deep end head first. So here we go. Let's do it right now. James, how is it that you define leadership?
This is one of my favorite questions. I'll talk a little bit about what I've done in my career here probably later on. But one of my favorite distinctions there is you have managers, you have leaders. You know, you have people who do well in the workplace that, they tend to get promoted. Doesn't always make the greatest leader. Sometimes they are just a manager. Sometimes they're unfortunately just another, cog in the machine. But a leader is different. One of my favorite quotes, I'm real big on quotes, is ship and harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are for. Journey isn't always clear, definitely not always easy. But that's the point. You're taking a journey. So for me, leadership means motivating, inspiring, finding a common goal. And really my best way to do that for the people that I work with and that work for me is just service through others. If you find something that works, tweak it as necessary, but repeat it. If you have a winning formula, use it. Not only that, ask yourself, why is this working? And what's happening here? So you can dissect it and hopefully teach it to others. I don't want to be the same leader 6 months from now that I am today, because if I am, then I haven't learned anything new. I've not listened to the advice of others. I want to change, I want to evolve. And, that takes a village. It takes, success from everywhere.
So let me get this straight. If I'm hearing you correct, and I'm totally paraphrasing, James. So if I do it wrong, let me know, right?
No, you're
so
good.
you're really saying that leadership is really about, to steal your words, tweak and repeat. It's about evolution. If you're doing it the same way you did it 6 months ago, then you're I'm guessing it may be more management style more than leadership style, because leadership means I'm going to evolve and grow as the industry changes, right?
Yeah, exactly. I worked in big box stores for 20 years, Walmart, Circuit City, AT&T, Best Buy, always starting out at the bottom, working my way up in management at different levels. And, all it feels like you ever really do is respond. You're just responding to whatever the fire is today. And you never can really focus on what's happening around you and what's happening in the long run when you're just responding to what's going on there. So when you do find a winning formula, there's, they always say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But I don't really look at it that way, because the world we live in is constantly evolving. Why wouldn't our work? Why wouldn't our leadership styles? So, you find something that works, fantastic. Share it, get others in on it, though, and I guarantee you it'll get better.
There it is, Cardinal Nation. First golden nugget.
Mhm.
Find the winning formula. Right? It's going to be different in every industry. It's going to be different whether you're at Walmart. I'm sure it wasn't the same when you were at Walmart to what you're doing now, right? Like,
no, not at all.
But there is a winning formula, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, for me, that's servant leadership. That's the style that I've been lucky enough to have several good managers who work that way. And so in a way I inherited it. But it just kind of spoke to me. The thing is, if you take care of your people, they're going to take care of you. My grandparents had a large part in raising me. So in a lot of ways, I kind of got this very different perspective of what it meant to find a job growing up. When I was young, my grandfather had me switching jobs every year because he wanted me to have a different experience. But at the same time, he always told me, you find a company that you can spend your life with, you can build a career with, because people pick up on that loyalty. But unfortunately, it feels like the world we're in, you just don't have that loyalty necessarily from employees anymore. You don't necessarily have it from employers. So when you find that situation where you do get that, or you stick with it. But work-life balance is so blurred these days with phones, with emails, with social media. You can't ever get away. We're always connected, and that's great until it's not. There is no real work week anymore. I mean, it goes into all hours of the night, the day, the weekend. Who doesn't take their laptop or their phone with them answering work questions when they're on vacation? And that, and you don't get the rest you need. So for me, when I say servant leadership, I do everything I can to provide that work-life balance. When something comes up, when I can tell someone's just not in it that day, you do everything you can to treat them like you would want someone to treat you, and think of a time when that probably didn't happen for you. And when you realize that people have different motivations, maybe you're in a job, but that's not your career, but it's the next stepping stone. The people who really are going to succeed, the people who really want to do well for themselves, are the people who treat every job they have like it's the most important thing ever, until they take that next step, because they know you never know how it's going to connect back to you, what connections you're going to need, or who's going to know who, or what skill you're going to learn. So the servant leadership style for me, you help others, they help you, everybody gets taken care of, everybody wins.
I love that, right? One of our questions was, what is your leadership style? But you totally answered that, servant leadership. So because I know it's about finding the winning formula, it's about motivating, it's about being a servant, it's about understanding that person. Who do you think, I know you kind of alluded to your grandparents, but who do you think best exemplifies that definition of leadership for you?
Well, I definitely want to say, I got a lot of it from my family. My grandparents worked multiple jobs their whole life. My mother is a nurse practitioner. She has been a nurse my entire life while going to school. Didn't finish until I was in my mid-20s when she became a nurse practitioner and got her doctorate. She always had two jobs while going to school, while raising two kids, and had her own business. Most of my family members have their own business. So, I talked about working in big box, but I've seen the effort that it takes to make a small business work. And you are literally talking 25 hours a day when it's a small family business. So, people who have that mentality that are willing to do, not only whatever it takes, but then still find a way to enjoy life, because you can't just work your life away. What's the point if that's what you're doing? But they inspired me. And so the people who I've found is, the people who exemplify that, people like Elon Musk here at the University of Louisville, Matt Bergman, Professor Bergman, man, one of my favorite teachers ever, just a wonderful guy, always helped me. I found a way to take more classes with him because I liked his teaching style. Professor Aaron Myers, I don't think is at the university anymore, but was there for several years. Wonderful professor, extremely motivational, helped me when I was trying to choose where I was going to get my master's. People who just they find a way of helping you even without necessarily directly helping you. Sometimes they help you just because you watch and learn with how they react to things, kind of a
Right.
WWJD thing. Your mentors, you find a way to learn from them, whether they're necessarily directly talking to you.
Man, listen, you hit the nail on the head. And shout out to Dr. Myers, and who I think is still adjuncting for us, and Dr. Bergman, who, he's my mentor. He doesn't know it yet. I haven't told him that, right? But he doesn't know it. Maybe he does know it. I think I've blown up his phone a couple times, a couple hundred times since I started at the university. But definitely, man, I think you're 100% right. I think, and it's interesting, right? Because your tribe, your circle, your influence, right? Those people you felt that influence your leadership, like those are people you can actually reach out and touch. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very lucky, and I've don't get me wrong, just like everybody, I've been blessed with great managers, and I've been blessed with the opposite. Because each is a learning experience. You can't have the good without knowing what the bad is, but. I'm very lucky, and even more so with the company I'm with now. I'll talk about that probably later, but you find a way to make it work. You find a way to find people who inspire you and learn what you can from them.
That's sweet. I love it, man. That kind of ties right into this next question a little bit. But what motivates, what inspires you to be great? I mean, what gets you out of the bed in the morning? If anything, right? I mean, I'm sure there's something, but what is it?
So there's several things. I think the first and foremost is what most people would say, and that's my family. I have a 10-year-old daughter. I have 7 nieces, 3 sisters, 7 nieces. I'm the only boy in my family for like 40 years, and I'm the oldest. So I kind of feel like I have to, walk the line, set a good example for them, and provide for my family. But really, when I'm working and learning, as well, it's more about feeling like I'm doing something important. And the funny thing is what I said earlier. The people who I think are the most successful find a way to be happy, find a way to succeed, no matter what part of that process they're in, because it's a ladder. You're moving from one rung to the next, and it's not always the one you want to be at, but you got to find out and find a way to do it well. So, watching others succeed is really what has been key for me. I've been lucky enough to promote. I think I've promoted over 20 people. I kind of started losing count because there's just too many in my career that I've helped promote into other positions. Seeing how they succeed later on, having them come back to me and ask me how I would handle situations. People reaching goals that they just didn't think would be possible. Really, more than anything, changing people's mentality. When you have people who are just disenfranchised or discouraged, and you find a way to help them find that enjoyment in what they're doing, that's something you couldn't pay for that. I mean, you have to earn it, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of.
I love it.
Let's get better together. How are you going to do that? What are you talking about? Listen, are you one of the 1.3 million adults who have some college and no degree? Listen, I have the solution for you. This is what I need you to do. Go to get your mobile device, get your laptop, whatever it is you find, and surf the internet on. And this is what I want you to type in. I want you to type in uofl.me/BSOLL-podcast. Again, that's uofl.me/BSOLL-podcast. Once you get on that site, you're going to learn, and we're going to show you how and to do some great things. We're going to learn and show you how you can save money towards your degree. You're going to learn about what we call PLA, our prior learning assessment. You're going to learn about our 9 degree tracks, as well as you can request more information, but most importantly, you can even sign up for an informational where you can talk to me directly, and we can figure out how we can get you through this process as quickly and as smoothly as possible. Listen, your industry is waiting on you to be the leader and the learner that it needs you to be. The world is waiting for you to be the leader and the learner that your industry so desperately needs. So check us out, uofl.me/BSOLL-podcast. And guess what? I can't wait to see you in the classroom.
talked a little bit about leadership. I want to change gears just for a minute. Just want to change gears for a minute. We definitely, I'm sure it'll segue back into, but we're going to talk a little about learning right now. And in your opinion, right? You've talked about, you've had several jobs. You have had to take on different learning styles and different learning places. So how do you think learning takes place, or how do you know when one of your employees or one of your subordinates, I don't want to call everybody an employee, right?
Yeah.
Colleagues, right? How do you know when the light bulb it goes on? I'm a professor and I love watching the light bulb go on.
Yeah.
How does that work for you? How do you know when they actually got it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's, well, there are several common threads. It's a little bit different in the workplace sometimes than it is in actual education, higher learning, whatever. But for me, it starts with you questioning rather than just observing. And that means you got to find out. For me, my employees are my customers. When I was the bottom level and the customers were my customers, I don't treat them any differently. It's really exactly the same. I got to find out what inspires them, what drives them. Why are they here? Why are they interacting with me? Are they doing this because they have to, because they need to, or because they want to? That'll tell you a lot about the way, teaches you a lot about the way people react and, to both coaching and praise. Some people shy away from praise, and others can't get enough of it. So, the more you know about somebody, the more you know about what they tick, or how they tick, I'm sorry, the better you can lead them. So, to absorb learning, when you do that, then I think it becomes, if they're retaining the information because they want to, if you see them applying something where you've coached them or guided them or instructed them, whatever, then sure, learning's taking place, if they're moving forward. On a group level at school, I think it's more about, and I think I get a little ahead of myself here, but, more about providing a vision. You find a way, what again makes one person tick is not the same as the group. So with a group, it's more about finding that winning formula that inspires everybody towards a common goal. People want to be a part of something successful. They want to be a part of something fun, something important. And if you can provide that for them, then you get to watch that learning unfold and them grow into themselves. And, if you're really good at it, or rather really lucky, you'll see it grow in ways that you weren't responsible for. And I think that makes me the proudest, when it's because of themselves.
That's awesome. So, I mean, what I took from that is, on the individual level, it's really, like I said, it's really individual. It's just kind of figuring out that person. On the group level is you got to put that vision that lights the fire under everybody. And then at some point it catches fire, right? It's the big vision. It catches fire. And at some point it catches on everybody. That's an amazing answer. I like that. May be the best answer I've heard on that question for a long time, right?
Well, I don't know about that. That's scary, I guess. No, thank you. I appreciate that.
But that's real though. I mean, it just goes to show you that, we've had, I don't know, 30 some odd guests. Everybody answers all these questions differently, but I really say that I think that may be one of the best answers I've heard,
Well,
so shout out to James and the great answer right there.
Thank you.
Moving to our next question. Like, this is a unique one, right? So Seth Godin has put out there, right? It's no secret that that he feels like people need less mentors and more heroes, or less people you can touch and more people that maybe you gotta idealize, those Elon Musk that we may not work with every day. What do you think about that statement? Do you think we need less mentors because mentors get busy? Mentors are people, like that circle. Like, if grandpa gets busy and grandma's busy and mom's out doing nurse things, like who do you then, who's my hero at that point in time to kind of, who's my WWJD that I find right there? So what do you think about that statement?
Oh man, that was great. You gave me some of this information beforehand, and I had never seen that. I don't know how, but I've never heard of it. I'm really big on reading leadership biographies and reading success stories and their how-tos. But it's that was kind of an eye opener. I mean, it was about 5 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Any of you who haven't watched this, take the 5-6 minutes, whatever it is, to let it challenge your thinking. I love those moments. I love those moments when, maybe it's not an aha, I know what I'm doing wrong, but it's an aha of, oh man, I've never looked, this is a whole totally new way of looking at things. I'm going to have to watch more from these guys and this guy, what they do, but it's genius. I love it. It exhibits kind of some of this can-do attitude that,
Right.
sometimes I feel like our country, workplaces have lost, because I think more and more and more people, in my experience, especially working for big box stores, they feel disenfranchised and more of kind of the cog in the machine. It kind of exemplified, look, you don't have to have a direct mentor that tells you every step of the way what to do. You just learn from people around you and then just go do your own thing. So, it goes back to what I said earlier about, finding motivation in your employees and your colleagues and yourself. Luckily for me, as I mentioned, I find that in seeing others succeed. So it's really easy for me, to find that motivation to move on. But no, that's genius. I really, really love the thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was challenging, and that's
Yeah.
why we grabbed it.
Mm.
I thought it was something that was unique, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because like, what do you do, right? Like, I mean, and I guess that is kind of where the WWJD or
Yeah.
whatever people put in that tag category. It's like, but what do you do? Like, who do you find? Like, oh my gosh, I can't reach my mentor, or
Mhm.
I can't get a hold of, I can't get a hold of James. What do I do? I can't get a hold of my boss. You know what I mean? Like, what's happening? How do I move forward? It's like at that point in time, then you have to have kind of like that hero in your back pocket. You can say, hey, what would Elon Musk do in this situation? Right.
Yeah. And it's a great point you just made there too. One of the things, I worked in the cell phone industry for 10, 15 years. And so my phone is almost permanently glued to my hand. But inevitably there were going to be times that, my workers and my employees, my colleagues needed to get a hold of me and they couldn't. And, especially with new managers, the thing that I always told them is, look, you find yourself in that situation where you don't know the answer or you feel like you need approval before you can take an action. If it's a little outside of the book, don't stress if you can't get a hold of me. Just make a decision. As long as afterwards I can say, why did you do this? And you give me a good reason. If it's wrong, okay, well, coach, let's not do that again. But if most of the time that stuff just kind of works itself out. Have faith in yourself. Have a good reason for doing what you're doing, and then just run with it, man. You can't spend your entire life waiting for someone else to say yes, for someone else to give you the steps. Sometimes you just got to take that leap. And again, that's please, if you haven't, please watch that little 5-minute, 6-minute video. That's life changing. That's a very looking at things.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, oh, bless me. Sorry about that.
Sure.
So transitioning again, talked a little bit about leadership.
Yeah.
Talked a little bit about learning, but now everybody's, we got you on the podcast for a reason. And I want to know, why is James on the podcast? He's going to talk to us about success in a unique industry, actually.
Yeah. So for me, like I said, I spent 20 years in big box, and my life, how I thought things were going to pan out and what I was going to do has changed so many times. And, I cannot thank the University of Louisville and the professors and my classmates that helped me succeed along the way. I can't thank them enough, because the program came along right at the right time of my life. I graduated from high school in 2001. I had a full academic scholarship to University of Louisville, was blessed to have that. And after 4 years and roughly 125 hours, I had wanted to go into law. I worked in the House and the Senate, worked with some great people. And I also worked with some people that I was like, man, this is what this side of the business is like. I don't know if this is for me. And so I stepped away and I went into the workforce for 10 years. I was in the military for a little while in the Air Force. And this program came at a point where I was working for a big box store, AT&T. I had got a few promotions and got to a point that I was either going to have to move away from my family to really get another one, or that I was losing out on promotions because I hadn't finished my degree, 125 hours and didn't have a degree to my name. And so, the balance that this program provided, in allowing me to have my work life, do things at my own pace, was instrumental to me coming back to school and getting my degree. And really, I love learning. I wanted to be a teacher for the longest time. And a lot of that is just because I'm very, very curious by nature. If I see something I don't understand, I dive into it. I want to get it. Anyway, the program brought me to the point that I got this degree. I was working for this company before I finished it. Within 6 months of finishing it, I had got a promotion, moved that estate, very large salary increase. And I credit a lot of that to the University of Louisville and the availability of the leadership and learning program. So, I mean, I can't say enough positive things about it.
Man, listen, we listen. That's all you got to say. That's the greatest commercial we could ever get, right? Yeah. So let me get this straight. You were working with another company while completing the degree, or you were at your current company?
No, I started back in 2016 when I was working with AT&T. Was just, AT&T had a program where they would, they pay for my tuition if I could match it up with my job skills. So I was like, hey, why not? They're going to pay for it. I'm going to be here anyway. And then I ended up leaving them because it's just a very different company than I had entered 10 years before. One of the largest 5 in the world, and not attacking anybody going off on that, but just very different company. It was no longer a place that I really considered that I enjoyed my job and wanted to continue there. Came on with Family Dream Homes, the company I work for now. And just got back in the program and finished it while I was here, and they gave me the time I needed to. So I'm very lucky there. But they recognized, the knowledge that I had gained and the skills that I had learned, and that here I am, so. That's
amazing. I love it. So you're with American Dream Home now, right?
Family Dream Homes.
Family Dream Home. Family Dream.
Yeah.
Well, that's the American Dream too, though.
Yeah.
We kind of tied it in there. I kind of tied it in there. It was my mistake. Yeah. American Dream Home. Right. And so, what exactly? You got the opportunity. You're now. You're leading. You're doing some great things for the company. Give us some insight. Give us some clues. Tell us about the things that's going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So. We've been in a little bit of a housing crisis, for several years now, close to a decade. Everybody needs a home. Our population is booming as always. So, with COVID, unfortunately, in the last year and a half, has really just kind of thrown the world into chaos. There are a lot of supply issues, as if nobody had noticed, and that is really, really badly impacting the housing community. A year ago, if someone told me that I had to wait 2 months to have like a modular home built or manufactured home, I kind of would have laughed and said, okay, never mind. I'm going to go sell them another house. And now, I mean, it's like 8 months to over 2 years to get a home in some cases. Wow. So, okay. The company that I work for, and here's the thing, that doesn't mean people just go, okay, I don't need a new place to live. If someone's buying a home, they have a pretty good reason for it. The rent's too much. The home is in bad condition. They're moving to a new area. There's a million reasons why, but we all need a safe place to call home and be comfortable and protect our loved ones. And I love what I do and the company I work for, because they make good people decisions all the time, not just what is maybe the best business decision. And our owner, they've been in business 15, 20 years. Our owner made some really good decisions when COVID started. Everybody thought that the market was just going to come to this screeching halt because of everything shutting down. And our owner kind of buckled down and dug in and ordered more homes. He committed to more resources. And, we've had 2 of our best years ever. When everything else is shutting down and small businesses all over the country are going out of business. So, I praise his foresight, and luckily that I was, had the boss and the owner of the company who said, no, I need to protect my people. I'm not cutting back. I'm going to invest more in our company right now. And it was maybe a bold and dangerous, dangerous is not the right word, but a very iffy question, decision to make. Didn't know how it was going to turn out. And it worked out very well for us. And, we opened a new office in Florida. I got the promotion, moved down here from Western Kentucky. And, Florida has more manufactured, more modular homes built and shipped to it than anywhere else in the country. Kind of maybe surprisingly, but the products we build are better in a lot of ways than some stick builts are. We have a wide range of products, and there's a huge market here. So we're booming down here, doing very well. We're opening up our second office within the month. It's going that well. We haven't even been here a year. It just, the right things happened at the right time. So
I love it. I love it. And I forgot to give the second golden nugget. The second golden nugget that you put out there was get the OLL degree, right? The first golden nugget we said was find a winning formula. Part of James's winning formula was completing the degree from the University of Louisville, the OLL program. But, you know what I mean? I know there's a lot of great programs out there. I don't want to discount or talk down to any program, but I think it's very important to get the degree. I would prefer you come to the University of Louisville and go to the OLL. No doubt. Shout out to our program and Dr. Bergman, you know, Dr. Ann Hurd, Dr. Randy Whetstone, myself, Roger, Buskell, all of our faculty, adjunct, full-time, everybody, right? Definitely come here if you want to learn from the best. But, you know what I'm saying, get the degree, right? Not taking anything away from your industry. You know, so what have you found to be most successful, you know, in that housing industry? We know that, I mean, it seems like I guess what we say, it's a buyer's market right now, but I mean, it seems like we can't, you know, there's more demand than maybe supply. What are some of your suggestions?
Well, you know, and not to take away from, you know, talking about the program, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about my work and the wonderful, wonderful company that I work for. But yeah, right now, you know, the biggest issue we have, people come in and they got to find land. Land is really expensive right now. Stick-built homes people are placing them on the market, and they are getting bids over what they asked for the day of, with buyers saying, I'm going to waive inspections. I'm going to do what I have to have a house. Get me in a house. I don't care, you know, what it takes. And so for a lot of people, they're really struggling to find a good option. You know, like I said, I've learned a lot in 20 years of working in retail, but from the university's program, the OLL program that I participated in, every single day, every new chapter we cover, every new subject, I felt like, man, this is something I'm already doing, but this is just one more tool that'll make me better. This is a new way of looking at something I'm already doing that's going to make me more efficient. So I've tried to translate a lot of that into how I do my job. My boss has been doing this for 50 something years. There's a manufactured home Hall of Fame. It's a really weird sounding thing to exist, but it's a very real thing. He's in it. He is a titan in this industry. And I'm lucky that I have an amazing mentor for this job that I do have access to every day. And he doesn't say, go away, I'm not going to help you. But at the same time, I learned from him. The owner is third generation doing this. You know, they know what it takes to win. They found the winning formula. But here's the best part, and this goes back a little bit to what I said earlier. They have a winning formula. For all intents and purposes, no reason to change it. But they are always willing, if they say, hey, we're going to do things this way, and someone has an idea, they are always willing to listen, and they very fairly and consistently say, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's try it. You know, so they have this winning formula. They're making money. You know, they've got a successful business that they don't have to tweak at all, really. And they're always willing to experiment. And there is nothing more inspiring as a worker. You know, I'm the general manager. I am the boss at my location, but I still have superiors. And there's nothing more inspiring, I think, at any level of the workforce, or even in education, having a teacher listen to your idea, not to say, no, this is the way it is. I'm going to talk now, but have them give you the opportunity to try to experiment, to prove to yourself, a new way of doing things, whatever. And they do that. Our business does that. I found that opportunity at U of L through that program, where I've constantly had instructors that were willing to help me grow and figure it out on my own. Not, very big difference between, give a man a fish, teach a man a fish. And I found those things in this workplace, and I found those things at U of L.
That's amazing. And I love that you dropped a third golden nugget out there that maybe you may not even know you did this, but I picked up on it. Go work for a Hall of Fame boss, right? It makes
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you have the opportunity to go work for a Hall of Fame boss, go do it. Clearly they have a winning formula. They know a little bit about leadership, probably a lot about management as well. They've climbed their way to the top. All those good things. But listen, James, before we get out of here, we've covered all the serious stuff. Right? We've talked about success. We've talked about leadership. We've talked about learning. And on the podcast, I always like to have fun with the guests. Period, point blank, no questions asked. What point is it having a podcast if you can't have fun with your guests?
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
So we're going to go into what we call our rapid fire and our fun segment. So the rapid fire is really this. Going to ask you 5 quick questions. Give me the first thing that comes to your head. Sometimes rapid fire turns into be not so rapid fire, so I may have to rename the segment.
I'll keep it short.
Yeah, if you can't, great. If not, that's no problem, right? We've had people take time. Sometimes I even highlight on it. But here we go. Rapid fire question number 1. Here we go. Targets coming up. See if you can knock them down. If you could pick one word to describe your life so far, what would it be and why?
Unexpected. As I said earlier, things definitely did not go the trajectory I thought they would. And you know what? That is okay. I had a full ride to college, got my degree 15 years later. And I learned a lot of great things in between. And maybe my life would be different if I got it earlier, but just go with it, man. Everything happens for a reason. And it will tie back to one little thing I said earlier. I believe the people who are the most successful find a way to be happy, find a way to be productive, find a way to feel successful, no matter where you are, what position you're in. That's just the rung on the ladder, the next step. Work it.
I love it. Great answer. Question 2, rapid fire. What are 3 non-negotiable characteristics that anyone on your team or tribe has to have? And he's the GM, so he makes all the calls.
I love this question because there's literally a sign in my office right behind where I sit. You cannot come into my office without seeing it. So they see it 100 times a day. 10 things that require 0 talent. Okay. High energy, positive attitude. High energy, natural high energy is not always something that people have, but it's learnable. But a positive attitude is one of those things that, people can try to fake it till you make it, but you can tell the people who really have it and have that belief in themselves. And if you're leading the right way, if you're servant leadership, serving, inspiring others through what you do, you find a lot more people are able to live and work that way as well. Being coachable, again, it takes a village. Okay. You got to be open to advice. You don't have to necessarily take it, but you should definitely listen to it and consider it. And the last thing, do a little extra. A good work ethic goes a long way. People notice it. And you never know who you're going to impress, and who's going to give you their own golden nugget that might change your life.
I love it. High energy, positive attitude. I think I do that every day. Be coachable. I definitely have to do that and do a little extra. I think the podcast is so. Listen, I think I check all 3 boxes, man. I think I'm doing good. I think I can be a part of your tribe. I can be a part of your tribe.
There we go. Yeah, anytime.
All right, here we go. Rapid question number 3. Here we go. Question number 3. What is your favorite dessert?
Birthday cake. Birthday flavored birthday cake. Yeah, I love it. That was always the treat I got if I got a goal or did something well, scored extra goals in soccer, during a game or whatever, that my grandmother would make me birthday cake.
I love it. I love it. Sprinkles included, right?
Yes. Oh, you got to have the sprinkles.
Oh, okay. Just making sure, just making sure.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If you could do your career all over again, right? Not saying you would, not saying you would, but what would you, if you could do it all over again, what career would you do?
Yeah. I'm so happy where I am and things came so unexpectedly. I'm very big into strategy and planning for the future. And my life has taught me that sometimes that is very futile. You just got to kind of run with it. I don't know that I would change things. Probably be a teacher, professor, if I had to make a hard pick. I love learning myself. I love helping others find it. So that'd probably be the closest match.
That's a great answer, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Since the professor's on here, that's a wonderful answer. All right, here we go. Last question, rapid fire, right? If you could sit with your 13-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Listen to advice more, take it seriously, the normal stuff, work hard, study hard. But probably the most important thing is the lesson that I didn't learn until later in life. Enjoy it while you're there. Time flies. You can be stressed out. You got to find a way to have fun and just relax and enjoy it while you're there. That's it. Don't stress too much. Let future, this is what I always say. My workers laugh at me. Let future James deal with that. If I have something too stressful and there's nothing I can do about it right now, then I find something that I can do something about. Let future James deal with that tomorrow.
All right, I love that. I'm writing that down right now. Let future you deal with it, right? Yeah. Go to nugget number 4. Let future you deal with it. Love it. Okay. So here's one question. Here's my fun question. That it's not a stumper, right? I think anybody who listens and watches the podcast knows it's not really a stumper. It's actually just a cool question. I think I've asked everybody, and some people have gotten stumped by it, but it's not a stumper, right? If your life was a title of a book, made up or real, what would it be and why?
Another Day in Paradise. That's one of those things that I think people say, and most people kind of automatically assume, they're like, oh man, I hear you. Yeah, just, chugging along, doing my thing. But I'm one of those weirdos that when I say that, I mean it. I'm blessed to have the opportunities I have. I love my family. I love my workplace. I love the people I work for. I love the life that I've had, and I don't know that I would change it if I could. And it all goes back to what I said. You got to find a way. Got to find a way to enjoy what you do, and it makes everything changes. Every task is easier. Every day is less stressful. Not to say you don't have stressful moments, but that meant I believe paradise is a state of mind. Okay. It's one of those things that, if you believe you'll win, you will. If you believe you fail, you will. Enjoy what you're doing. That's all I can say.
And it doesn't help that you're also residing in Florida, which some would consider to be a piece of paradise.
It's like I think 78 degrees out here today. The little bit of wind blowing. I walked the dog earlier. Beautiful, beautiful weather. Wonderful place down here. That doesn't hurt. But even in the few days that it does get a little bit cooler, it's still hard to complain. So.
No doubt, no doubt. And listen, James, before I let you get out of here so you can go do some amazing, incredible things and change another family's life by giving them a home. Listen, here's the thing. What is your wise counsel? Some people say, why do you use wise counsel? And I say that because I don't like the word advice. I read in a book somewhere that if you add advice, exactly what you could be doing, adding vices to someone's life. So what is your wise counsel that you would shout to the top of mountain so everyone could hear you? You know what I mean? You got the platform, you got the stage, the floor is yours.
Man, just a combination of the things I've said before, but I'll try to break it down and keep it a little bit more simple. My success with when I'm selling to a customer, if I'm on the front line or I'm talking to the boss, is a combination of that stay positive, believe in yourself kind of mentality. And the other part of it is sell, not tell. Sell the benefits. Don't just talk about the product. The best way to win is for your actions and your words to speak to how you can help others, how you can perform, what can you change, maybe a little bit of less of the why and more of like, look, this is just what we're going to do. This is going to work. This is how it helps you. This is how it helps me. And when you operate with that mentality, you focus less on the minor details that slow you down or maybe a little bit more tedious, and you stay a little bit more focused on the big picture of things. And that helps me succeed and get through the less fun stuff.
Yeah, totally. I totally get it. That makes 100% sense, right? Just like you said, it's real practical, right? Sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes it doesn't take anything complex. It doesn't take, you don't got to read the 400-page book, and you don't have to go through a 300-page novel. Sometimes you just got to go, what works? What's simple? Change my focus. And then sometimes, you gave us the golden nugget a second ago, but sometimes it's so simple as let future you deal with that. Right?
Yeah.
I can't deal with that today. I don't even have the answer today. Like I'm not smart enough. I haven't talked to the people that can really answer that question.
Yeah, well, believe me, I'm working on a master's degree right now, and on top of my 60, 70 hours a week that I tend to work. So, yeah, I'm letting future James deal with a lot of stuff right now, it's I think about where it's taken me. I think about where it's going to lead me down the road. I try not to let just one thing hold me hostage. That there's so many opportunities out there. There's so many things that I'm blessed to be able to experience and be a part of, and that have happened to me. You can't. Last thing, I'll keep this short and sweet. I'm going to mess up the exact paraphrasing, but something I've heard 100 times before is, if you had $1 million and somebody took one, would you let it ruin your life? And it's just like, no. Why? Or $5. Would you let it ruin your life? No, I still got most of $1 million. Look at that at your time. Somebody can come in and ruin 5 minutes of your day, 10 minutes of your day, but you have 23 hours and 50 minutes left. Are you really going to let that dictate the rest of your life? And if you just react, you let how other people act dictate how your emotions are going to be, what your mentality is going to be, your work ethic, you're going to be miserable. Okay. Just, hey, 5 minutes. It is what it is. Move on. Again, let future James deal with it if he has to, but smile and move on, man. Have fun and enjoy what you do. That's all I can say.
Man, that's what it's about, having fun and do what you do. And then hopefully at some point we find you and you get on the podcast and tell us how you had fun and did what you did. Well, James, man, it's been a pleasure today. It's been amazing to listen. The golden nuggets you dropped. Listen, we're going to talk about them later. But the golden nuggets you dropped today, where I'm telling you, it's going to change somebody's life. The whole point of this podcast is to give you those golden nuggets that can take your leadership and your learning to the next level immediately. And James, listen, the nuggets you dropped today, it definitely did that for Cardinal Nation. So I can't thank you enough for being on the podcast today. I think that the T in your middle initial stands for the man. So it's James the Man Sauders, no doubt, right? I figured it out, right? You gave me a clue, but I pieced it together. But so thank you for taking time out of your busy day today. Thank you for taking time and being on the podcast and help taking Cardinal Nation, taking our leadership and our learning to the next level.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much. It was an honor to be here. If you're not already involved in the program and you're watching this, listening to this, trying to learn a little bit about it, it is worth your time and effort. You will love every single moment of it. And thank you to the University of Louisville and yourself, sir, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. Have a great day, sir.
Yes,